Shalom. Peace, sovereigns. Greetings. If you are in this space and you can see me, if you can hear me, you can see my fingers just a little bit. Um, I just want to greet everyone. I see Brother Utu L in the space. Peace and shalom. Greetings to you. Welcome. I want to greet Sister Kashia. Peace. And thank you for joining us. And I know pretty soon a lot more of our regular faces will be in the space. So this evening, I thought it fitting to actually run through a quick, easy recipe that you can make anytime, anywhere. Okay, thank you, Sister Kashia. I am loud and clear. I am loving it. All right. Um, I love it. I love it. Love it. So yeah, I thought it would be an excellent idea to actually create something very simple, something very easy, a marinade. All right. And so I just call this a simple marinated veggie recipe, right? Or marinated veggies, right? Or veggies marinated. So the reason I thought it would be great is because many of us, those of us who acknowledge the shifting of the season, actually are also shifting into a period of fasting. And so, your period of fasting can be preceded by a water fast, or you can probably utilize a fruit fast. Or, you can do, I know some people utilize watermelons in replace of, to replace, fruit, or to replace even water. So that might work for you. Maybe you want to utilize teas only. Herbal blends are really good. They're very helpful in terms of, just getting the body prepared to flush out all of the toxins. There's some summertime, we enjoy life, right? And clearly many of us may have been locked down, we may have been separated, we can't go outside, but I know for summer many of us had the opportunity to explore and enjoy fruits and mingle and connect in whatever ways that we choose. I'm speaking not only to Anu people, but I'm speaking to everyone. Whether you're in the chat today or you would have come across our information packed video later on, but whether you're here now or later, it doesn't matter. This message is for everyone. So I felt that is an easy way to shift. If we were to consume marinated veggies, it's an easy way for us to shift into a lighter space, right? So our body will begin to recognize or even begin to prepare itself for no food for 3 days. All right, because typically if you're new, we will fast for 3 days, but there are many other variations, right? You can do 21 days. Maybe you want to cut down on those days and you want to do 14 or 7. All right, but it is really always based on your what you can handle. All right. And many times what you can handle now is based on what your last fast was like before. So if you found yourself at day 3 and that was it for you, then you have to respect the fast. All right. Or respect the body. And if you respect the body, then you'll know where your cutoff mark is. And so for the next fast, you try to push for another day or 2, or maybe several days more, 3 days more, so that you keep extending it. All right. Fasting is not about food, truly. I mean, we think about, oh my gosh, we're resting from food, but the truth is there's a lot more happening, right? So because we're not focused on food prep, focused on combinations, what we eating today, we're not focused on the pleasures or the sustenance of the physical body. We're really focused on the sustenance of the mental and the spiritual. And so your focus would be meditation, your focus would be affirmations, your focus will be goals and activities or ideas that you want to see come to fruition. So it's really critical to consider yet preparation so that you transition and you're able to give yourself time to pull away from food and pull away from drink and all the other things that we bombard our bodies with, and allow it to rest and focus on doing, focus on manifesting, focus on creating things and bringing things into fruition. So that's a lot. That's a whole lot about just making sure to utilize that solstice time. That time begins on the 22nd, and of course we know our days actually begin at sunset. So from sunset on the 21st, that's where I will be focused on pulling away and getting myself ready so that I am ready on the 22nd. So, you have that time to play with it. I know sometimes we go down to the minute mark and utilize that to gauge when to begin, as long as you make sure you mark your 3 days and you are able to give it 100%. All right. And prepare, just as how I am showing you how to prepare a meal, prepare a goal list for yourself. Prepare adequate affirmations for yourself. Prepare adequate activities that you are going to accomplish within that time, and make sure to check in every day to make sure that all of those items are accomplished, completed, or you're making progress toward their fulfillment. All right. I see Sister Deidre Sully has joined us, so I'll pause and greet her. Thank you so much for being in the space. This magnificent Sovereign Sunday evening has been brought to you by True Health Live. Boop, 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 boop. Big up to True Health Live. Big up to Sister Deidre Sully. She's always doing her thing. Always doing her thing. Yep. Give thanks. Brother Utu L says, eating light, divine light of Yahuwah. Yes, that is correct. That is correct. Right? What other source of nutrients and life do we need? Right? It's interesting. So there is a brother I stumbled upon a couple days ago, and he is a breatharian, right? So his focus is utilizing breath, the breath work and meditation to sustain him. And, he shifted into that journey because he realized that there was a lot of weight on his body. He wanted to get rid of it. Of course, he was obese, but there were other things happening with him. So he easily began to shift into trying different things. He tried fasting, that helped, but he was really fasting from food, but not really focusing on pranayama, breath work, fire breaths, meditation. He didn't stumble into that until he found someone who was able to share a little bit more about, fasting and what the significance of pulling away from feeding the body physical food, what it really is, what it looks like. And he was able to utilize all of these healing modalities to reverse, right? To reverse that obesity, to reverse all of the other things that we know come with being obese, right? As a melanated man in this country, we have heart disease, we have stroke, and those things are always at the heels of obesity. So he was able to reverse that. And, what I'll definitely do is place that link in the descriptor. And I've been saying that a lot for a lot of my videos. And if you go back, you'll see that I've edited and included additional links to provide additional resources for you all. So please feel free. And if you have a question, place it in the comments below after the video ends. All right. So let's jump in. When you're creating a marinade, right, you want to make sure you have levels of acidity in there. You want to make sure you have some levels of heat and spices as well. I chose to use red cabbage as my major veggie, but you can use burdock root, you can use carrots, you can focus on root veggies. But I chose to use something within the cruciferous family today, so I chose red cabbages. And I also like the rich red color, right? I'm going to include some chopped sweet peppers as well. You don't have to use sweet peppers. If peppers affect your stomach, you don't need to focus on those. You can switch it out for something else. You can use something hearty, hearty greens like kale, or you can use softer, gentler greens such as watercress, which is super high in iron and levels of protein. It's just a little old small green, but you know, it's powerful, right? It's like what do you call them? Underdog. It's the underdog of greens. Watercress. Don't sleep on it. So I also have some red onions, which I really love in raw dishes, and I have some chopped hot peppers. I am including some olive tapenade in here, and I'm including salsa. All right, so I have a nice mix. Now, a lot of what I have here doesn't necessarily, it isn't from scratch, right? And I know you're probably saying, oh, you like to do from scratch, but you know, sometimes we need a break. So I selected a salsa that was created with the least amount of ingredients, right? So that way I can control what I put in my marinade. All right. And I can control it because I'm making sure to use something that has very low amounts of sodium. No sugar has been included in it at all. There is no EDTA for preservation. And the way I know these things is because I look at the jars. I am constantly reading jars and looking at what's in there. And once I zoom in on a product that I know is clean, I consistently use it. So I also have one last thing I have, and I always show you all, is my green seasoning pepper that's ground up. I have cayenne powder that I'm going to utilize as well too. So I'm going to just chop these up. Now I'm going to make two marinades. I'm going to make one marinade that will have a lot of liquid, and it will sit there and marinate inside of that that slightly acid with the spices and the seasoning, almost as if you're pickling it, right? And so you can sit it in a nice wide mouth jar for a couple of days, and it will, for those of you who are of Haitian heritage, that type of mixture is called a pickle. And you can utilize different veggies. You can utilize different veggies of different sizes. Those of you who are Haitian and you are familiar with pickles and you want to share a little bit about the what you all put in pickles, please jump into the chat and share. All right, so I'm gonna just jump right in, right? Because I've been talking for 12 minutes, y'all. So I didn't chop this beforehand because I wanted you to see. Look at all the waters coming from my cabbage because I soak my veggies to make sure that, I really think that when we soak veggies, they become much more moist, easier to digest, especially when you soak them in a little bit of vinegar. It helps. Of course, you don't want to put too much because then your whole thing has a vinegary taste. So I am making the I guess you could say this one is the overnight marinade, and the one that I put in the jar will be the marinade that you can sit in the fridge for a couple days. The overnight marinade, I'm gonna chop the veggies much finer. I'm going to julienne them, so you can probably see me just chopping away. All right, and I'm just gonna add them to my bowl. Okay, I have onions that are done already. Makes it easier for me. All right, it makes it easier for me. Sister Deidre is sharing a little bit about pickles in the chat. Thank you very much. Deidre is of Haitian heritage, and it's always beautiful to big up those of us who are have some additional culture that we learn about ourselves and our relatives, and we want to share it, right? Always beautiful. Regardless of how we're moving now, it's always important to acknowledge the launch pad that we came from, because we have propelled ourselves here, but we came from somewhere. She says pickles includes onions and Scotch bonnet peppers. Oh my goodness, I love Scotch bonnet, y'all. Scotch bonnet is hot. All right. Scotch bonnet, and she says cabbage, carrots, vinegar. That's how I like it. All right. That's a marinade. That's a great base for a marinade. The vinegar is the acid there, and you want to make sure when you're marinating veggies, you use that acid. Don't use too much. Apple cider vinegar is an excellent acid that can be used. It's much easier on the stomach, and it actually makes digesting things like cabbage easier to digest, right, in its raw form. So that's why I chose the red cabbage, because it makes it really easy on the digestive tract. All right. And that roughage is good. That roughage is good, you know, in small amounts. All right, not too much of it. Okay, so those are the pieces that I have sliced for my overnight marinade, and I'm just gonna chop up the others for the for my jar, right? So typically, because I'm sitting these in this 2 or 3 day marinade inside of a sauce for a couple of days, or marinade for a couple of days, I make the slices much larger. All right, so I'm gonna cut them in, you know, bigger squares. As you can probably see all of this chopping action going on, right? And if you can't see it, let me know, and I will shift gears a little bit. I don't want to stay too long on this, but I do want to make sure you can see everything. All right, you see the pieces. So I'm chopping nice chunks, okay, because once they won't be too bad, won't be too difficult for you to digest. It won't be difficult at all, because when you do this, you realize how the acid begins to break down the cell walls of the vegetables, and it makes it easier, softer. Garlic, I actually do have garlic in my green seasoning sauce. The green seasoning sauce is always a combination of the green onions with onions and garlic. But yes, garlic. Sister Deidre says you can put in some garlic too. I mean, who doesn't love garlic? All the time. All the time. All right. So now I have chopped up pieces of my red cabbage. So this is the shredded or julienne red cabbage. I'm going to make a overnight marinade with this, and the marinade that I'm going to sit in the fridge for a couple of days. I'm putting it in a jar. I'm going to just layer it. Sometimes I like to mix everything together and then place it in the jar, but sometimes it's nice to layer it and watch the colors. So we're going to layer it and watch the colors today. Okay, gonna layer it. So I'm adding some of that cabbage to the bottom, and I do the cabbage first because it's heartier. It's so hearty. It has to sit in the marinade, right? Now the best thing to do is to get yourself a nice wide dish like this one, like a casserole dish, because there's much more surface area of the cabbage exposed to the marinade, so you'll have that marinade, those cabbages that are marinating, they will get softer faster, right, and easier. So I'll put the rest away because I don't need all of it. I certainly don't. All right. So with the yellow peppers, I'm going to julienne those too. I did a lot of that last strong. I used a lot of the julienne method. It's easy. You don't have to keep them long. You can chop them in half and make them shorter and just add them. I don't have a lot, so what I'm going to do is just boom, done, and add them. It looks so good. And I'm just going to make a couple of chunks, cut a couple of chunks of the yellow and add it to my jar. All right, add it to my jar. I'm running out of yellow, so I will add just a little bit to the other jar. I'll do the same thing for the green, of course. So I'm doing two things at once, y'all. So follow me. I hope you could follow me. My head's down for a little while, so pardon. Follow me for a little. So again, I'm still chopping in nice chunks because I want to make sure that you know, my veggies don't thin out and get too soft. I still want them to have a crunch while they sit in the marinade. So I want to make sure, I want to make certain that they're chunky and they're thick enough. All right. So these I'll chop into nice chunks and I'm going to add them to my jars. Okay, and I'm just gonna keep layering and layering and layering until it's filled up. Okay. I don't have much left, but that's okay. All right. For those of you who are wondering, well, how long does this take? The marinade that sits in the jar can sit in the jar for up to almost 2 strongs. All right. It can last for 2 strongs or 2 weeks for those of you who may be wondering, right? So that means that you have a whole lot after your fast. Okay. For those of you who are in the chat, and do you have any questions about marinades? The one thing I will say is I want to make sure I share this tip. I know many times we tend to add oil to a marinade. We want to marinate veggies and we'll add an oil. Oils are good to add, but you want to make sure the veggies sit inside of the marinade in your jar for a while, probably 24 hours, and allow the spices and so on to kind of set in, and then you can add your oil to it, right? Because sometimes the oil seals off the cells and it really does not allow for the veggies to begin to absorb all of the seasonings and the spices. So you want to make sure you add the oil after, not at the beginning. Okay, not at the beginning. Okay, so we're almost done. Almost done. No question. So Sister Deidre says garlic too. Okay, I went over that. All right, so I'm done. All right, so I'm going to mix right now. Make it easy for you to see me mixing everything. I'm gonna actually begin to add some additional things. So I have onions in here, and the onions I have here are the onions for the jars. So I'm going to add them to the jars, and then I'll add some more to the dish or the casserole. All right. So that's it. I'm done. You can see the layers. I kind of like it that way. All right. And so that's for the jars. And again, you don't have to worry about all of this sitting there in the fridge and not being good after a while because it's a marinade. It will stay. As long as you make sure you add your acids to it, it'll be fine. Okay. So, and I'll mix the marinade for that in a little while. Let me just focus on the onions. So I have sliced onions here for, I don't know if you can see it. Let me know if you can see it. So I'm going to use these. I've been, I'm into the red onions a whole lot, so that helps. Because again, the red onions are a little bit gentler on in terms of like flavor, and they go well with raw veggies. Okay, because of how much flavor I am adding in terms of spices and peppers and so on, you can actually have some of this the same night, right? Because by the time you're done adding all the salsa and the spices and the olive tapenade, it is a delicious flavor. You can, again, as I said, I have powdered seasonings. I don't use them all the time these days, but I have some powdered onion, and I have some cayenne that I'm going to add because I want this to be really hot, super hot. All right, so that's it. I am done. So my next step is to actually just mix. All right, this is very similar to what I did with the last salad. I want to add some aminos to it, so I'm adding some coconut aminos to this. Not too much. I poured out some. I'm just going to pour out that over it. I'm going to add some cayenne to the, I like a lot of pepper. So I'm not measuring my cayenne at all. Notice I just poured a whole lot. I did not measure. I didn't measure. I am going to do one last thing. I'm going to add my seasoning and the olive tapenade on top, and I'm going to mix. A lot of the dishes that I make or I've been sharing with you all are really one, I guess you could call them like a one pot, right? Because you just put everything in a bowl and you kind of mix it. And some people will argue that, that's just a salad, but this is actually this process of marinating veggies is an old process. It allows for the food to be massaged, right? And again, this is raw, so you want to make sure you work with it. I like to use my bare hands, but just today I felt like I'll just use gloves. But if you're making this for a family, yeah, use your bare hands. Put all of that love into it. And make sure that you're massaging again. And as you massage the veggies, squeeze them, because what that does is it softens up the cabbages and it prepares it for releasing its enzymes, releasing its flavors, but also absorbing some of the spices and the marinade that you've added to it. All right. So we're not done yet. I'm going to add one more thing. I'm going to add some, just a little bit. I'm going to add some salsa to it. Okay. Notice that I have not added salt to this at all because the olive tapenade is very savory. So that helps with the added flavor. And again, I have a lot of seasonings, peppers and green onions and so on in my green onion sauce that I created. And makes it easy, super easy. So this is our marinade. Very simple, very easy, one pot dish, so to speak, one pot. And again, I can eat this within an hour. It will be soft and easy to digest. I can have some now, because again, I've done a good job at squeezing and making sure to prep and prime the veggies so that they are good to go. All right, so that's that. Now for the other step. The other step would be to prepare the marinade for my jars. Okay, so what I'm gonna do here, I'm just gonna move this bowl out of the way. This bowl out of the way, so you can see it. And I'm pretty much mixing the same. I'm mixing the same ingredients. I'm including aminos. I'm including salsa. I'm going to include a little bit of apple cider vinegar. I had my vinegar here somewhere, but it disappeared, so never mind. But make sure you add yours. And you're gonna find that there isn't a lot of liquid in the jar, but that's okay. Miracles happen when you put food and veggies in jars with marinades and you leave them. They just start to release a lot of liquid, and that acid and some of the salts help to draw out the moisture from the veggies, and of course they collect in the jar. All right, they collect in the jar. So I do also add water to some of this. So just give me a second. I'll pour it a little bit and add to the jars. All right. All right, I don't have to add too much. And if you want to, occasionally what you would do is every couple hours or so, or every day, you can go in and mix and shake the jar a little bit. So that way your ingredients, gets evenly distributed. All right. I have one more thing to do, and then we're gonna close. I really appreciate you all sharing this evening. Sister Kashia says she's taking notes. All right. Melissa Gabriel, that's my sister, you all. That's my younger sister. Sorry I'm late. Looks great. All right. Thank you for, just being in the space with your emoji, your smiley emoji. All right. All right. I'm almost done. Almost done. And then I'm gonna eat really quickly because it's kind of late. So all I'm doing right now is just adding my marinade to the jar, and I'm pressing down. It's a little bit messy, but that's all right. I don't have a funnel with me right now, but if you need one, you could use a funnel to help you. All right, let me just show you what's happening with mine. So I'm pouring, and you could see some of the marinade in the bottom, and you're probably saying that's not enough, but eventually, notice I'm pushing down. The more you push down, the more it releases some of those juices, and eventually your jar will be half full. All right. Now, once you secure the top, sometimes you can put a little piece of plastic wrap at the top to help, and you can sit the jar upside down. All right, so you can turn it upside down to help the veggies at the top get a little bit of marinade as well too. All right, I'll do the same thing for this second jar. And I'll finish it up after. But this is this evening's meal. And I really wanted to share something again that was very simple and easy for you all to make. If you have any additional questions about different substitutes or different veggies that you can use instead of the ones that you see here today, please let me know. But again, I said you can utilize root veggies in place of some of the cabbage that I use, burdock root, carrots, parsnips, celery roots. I love celery roots. You could also use celery as well. Those are different varieties of veggies. Some of them new, some of them are old. We've used them before. When I say old, we've used them before. All right. So thank you all for joining our Sovereign Sunday. And, I want you to, if you are in the chat, I want you to like, share, subscribe this video, and also look out for additional Sovereign lives on Instagram. We will do some more of those. And every Thursday we go live. We always have an open dialogue and conversation on Thursday. Short, brief, but always informative. So join us at 12:30 on Thursdays for our midday motivation. Peace to all of you. Wellness is yours. Hold on to it. Hold on tight. Can you all hear the noises in the background? It's like nature going on here. I wish I could actually take the phone and the speaker closer to the window so you can hear it. I feel like I'm outside. It is wonderful. It's like a symphony going on. I don't know if it's crickets or frogs, but it's absolutely amazing. Peace, everyone. Enjoy your evening.